Hello and welcome to video 25. In the last video, I added this traces property to the directory size metric that returns the traces for this directory size, and it just loops over directories and then makes a trace object based on the number of directories, and then we get this last dir function or this is basically the name, and we get it from just pulling the last name of the directory. We're split in by slash and getting the last one. And in the make matrix function, I added this toJSON field. And then down here, when it's true, it just dumps the rows into a JSON object. And then I have indent4 here. That's just for show, just to make it easier to see. Eventually, I'll remove this. And also I have .iso format for the date. This is still allow it to be JSON dumped. This dump won't work if it's just a datetime object. So that if I make it an ISO format, it makes it a string, and then it will be properly converted to JSON. And there's a problem here, and that is that it's not being converted to the right time zone, which I'm going to fix today. And then down here, I added this filamenttraces function, which loops over the matrix and pulls the data from the matrix and then passes that, it returns it to this traces object, which then gets passed on to the plotly.newPlot and then gets displayed. And also I got rid of x and y and replaced it with the counter. And the counter is this column function here, this column argument to the function. Before it was x and y. I replaced that with just column, and so now it uses a column, passes into the filamenttraces down here, and that is how we know what to pull from the matrix. And but this is not working yet. I just wrote this really quickly, and it's not finished. And so in this video, I'm going to finish this. And then also in the views, I added this. I put the matrix here by calling this function, and that gets passed into the template, and then up here, and then it gets placed into the document. And so in this video, I'm going to make it so that this is converted to the right time zone. Also, I'm going to fix this so that it handles a case where the directory ends with a slash, and then also I will get this working. So first off, I'm just going to make a new, this is the directory size metric, just get title. And then move this over here. And we'll say if it ends with a slash, then this says essentially remove the last character. And then we return split by slash, and then return the last item. And so yeah, that should work. Now let's test it by going to the page. Oh, I messed up the indentation. Yeah, there's one character. In Python, the indentation has to be perfect. If it's one character off, then it won't run. We scroll down here, and there it is. The name is correct. Now let's test it by removing the slash. It should still work. It should still give the same result. And it does. So I'm going to put the slash back. And so that's done. Now the next thing, I'm going to get this time zone correct. And to do the time zone, I already did it once. Down here, we just get the time zone, and then we do dot normalize. So I'm just going to copy this up here. To test this is working, I'll just make a new tick and see if it's the correct date. So right now it's 2:07 local time. Refresh, see if the last one is 2:07. Say 14:07, which is 2:07 local time. So that's correct. Now I will try to fix this function here, fill in traces. So the first thing I'm going to do is, when I wrote this yesterday, I just kind of did it really quickly. So I'm going to kind of change a lot. So first off, we want to loop through traces. So these traces are, it's just this right here. It just has type, and we need to add x and y, and these x and y are going to be lists. So I'm just going to initialize it with a list. So we'll do for each this just sets x and y to a just a list. And that's so down here I can say dot push then we want to return the traces. So here we're going to say cell equals, actually no, in here var cell equals row column. So this cell represents each item in a row. So for instance, this is going to be a cell, this is going to be a cell, this is a cell, this whole list is a cell. And sometimes a cell is a list, and sometimes a cell is just a single item. And we're going to, traces is always going to be a list. So we're always going to loop over traces. And I'm just going to get rid of filled traces. We don't need that. So this is trace. So we loop over trace, and we put the x as cell 0. Cell 0 is actually row 0. Row 0 would be the date. So each item in here will have always row 0. This is cell 0, cell 1, and it always gets matched with row 0. Row 0 is the date, the x value, and the y value is cell I. And so in order to do that, we need to go I. And cell has to be a list. Even if it's just, so what we'll do is we'll say if array.isArray cell so if cell is not an array, we make it into an array. That way we can, even if it's just one item, that way when we loop over, if there's one item that's not an array, that means there's one trace. And so trace I will be always trace 0. I will always be 0. And so that means cell I will be just the cell variable. And then row 0 will always be the x value. And I think that's correct. I think that's everything. So now we got to test it. So we'll go to the page, refresh it, and then go to the console. Okay, this is scatter. This is 2 scatter plots. So this I'm just calling fill-in traces. Fill-in traces takes a traces list and then a column. And so here I'm just doing column 5. Column 5 would be, so this is column 1. This system uptime is column 1. Force failure is column 2. This is column 3. This is column 4. And then this is column 5. And as you can see, it's working here. But column 5 is the directory size. There's 2 of them. So we have the first one is got 24 x's, and the y has 34 y's. And you can see there's a problem here, and that's because a whole bunch of nulls. We don't want nulls. That's because we can't graph that, so we want to get rid of these. And then the x is there's never a none here because there's always an x. There's an x on every line, but there's not always going to be a y on every line. So if it's none, we want to ignore it. So up here we'll say if cell is null, then return. And also we do that in here. If cell I and return is just going to this function, is returning from this function, which means that it just goes to the next loop. So it's kind of like in Python when you have continue. That's essentially what return is doing here. It's returning, it's going to the next loop. And so now, if we refresh this, run it again, this time we only have 20. The first scatter plot has 20. There always has to be the same number of x's as y's. So before it was like 34, and now it's only 20. And as you can see here, the x's and the y's, there aren't any nones, which is what we want. And then let's test another one. Let's test the column 1, which has only one plot. And it's only returning 2. The first, which is the power on, which is this point right here, which is 0. And then the most recent one, which is 18 something. And that's what we have here. Power on, which is x, which was the December 18th, and it was 0. And then the second one is just a few minutes ago, where it was 18, and that's correct. And so now I'm going to get rid of this Ajax call because it's not being used. And we can see is now working. And here we have our double graphs is now working. So this is the top one is the first trace, and it's the blue one. It's the Git folder. As we can see, every time we make a commit, it gets bigger. And then down here is the second one, or maybe this is the first one. I don't know, but this is the 2.2 folder. And the reason why I wanted to fix that bug is because this trace is stored in the database according to the hash of this path. And so if I go to my settings and I remove that slash, it will make a different hash for this list, or for this path, and so it won't show up. So now if I refresh it, it goes away. It only has one point. And if I tick that point, then it'll show up there. But I want to put the slash back so we have more data, so there's more stuff to show. There it is. And that's going to be all for this video. The next thing to do is to remove this line and put this into a separate AJAX call, so that at the bottom, at the very bottom of the document, we can make a new script and have a AJAX call. And the URL will be to a new URL that returns the matrix. And then in here we will call the make graph. So here we'll just have to go, we'll call this like graph args. Then this will just be a list. And then down here we'll loop over graph args. And then make something like apply. This is the URL, which we haven't made yet. And then, but that'll be next video. Now we will commit. And I will see you next video.